Hi guys. It's the middle of the night. It's really windy outside, so if you hear anything, that's what it is. We live in an area that's super windy, but then right down the street, people will say, I didn't hear any wind. It's really weird. We're in this like pocket. So I wanted to come on my channel, and somebody has suggested that maybe the grief stuff be dialed in on this channel and focus on family on the other channel. So I'm just trying it, just exploring with this idea of just focusing on what I've learned in my community, what I've learned through grief podcasts, what I've learned through Bible study, what I've learned, and some of the tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way. While just living through grief and while listening to different people talk about grief and just exploring what's out there to support those who are grieving. So if you're grieving, or if you lost someone, or you're going through early grieving, which I found is when you know someone has a terminal illness or a chronic illness that isn't going to go away, and you're grieving the old life where you didn't have to think about that, and now you do. First off, I want to say that I'm with you. I'm sorry. And I know that nothing anyone says or does can truly make you feel better. And that's why I'm here, is to give you tips on how to help yourself. Because in grief, I think that's all we can really do, is help ourselves. And so the first thing I wrote down little notes here, is being an attractor. Not in a tractor, but being an attractor, meaning it is very easy in grief to shut the world out. And that is what we as humans do to protect ourselves. And I did it, and I continue to do it at times, but I've found that if you let people in, as hard as it is and as uncomfortable as it is, you will find that the benefits are immeasurable. You gotta let people help you. You've gotta reach out. You've gotta let the support come in and just take it. When we shut ourselves off from the world and we shut ourselves off from everything that's going on, we cannot heal. The grief is a cloud, and it'll stay with you. It'll follow you. It'll trail you. But if you do your best to attract positive energy and attract good people in your life and let them in, then it'll help with your healing process. So as hard as it sounds to someone who is freshly grieving, I'm still fresh, I'm 4 months in. It is important that we do not shut ourselves off from the world, because it does not help you. There are times when we need alone time, and I'll talk about that, but there's a difference between alone time and shutting yourself completely off. So being an attractor, what my therapist said, is being a positive light, even when all the negative has gone on around you. So for me, lost my wife. I'm 33 now, 34 years old. I lost my wife at 36. And my life was completely turned upside down. I'm now a single parent. I'm now widowed. I didn't plan on being single at this age. I didn't plan on raising kids alone. I had a happy marriage, and it was all ripped away from me because of cancer. And so it's very easy to kick and scream and be angry and be mad at the world and be mad at cancer or a higher power. It's very easy just to be angry and shut yourself off and say, I'm done. The hard challenge is to be positive and continue to try to be positive, even in the darkest times. So my first one is to do your best to try to open up and let people in and be an attractor as much as you can. Number 2 is positive energy goes a long way. What does that mean? I'm not talking about faking it. I do not believe in faking happiness, faking that you're okay, faking that you're feeling positive. That doesn't do anything for anyone. It doesn't do anything for you, it doesn't do anything for your soul, and it doesn't do anything for the people around you. But what I am saying is making a conscious choice to be positive in just small situations goes such a long way. So if you can find it in yourself to take this crummy, horrible situation and look at the positive side of any of it, it goes a long way. So again, for me, I lost my wife. I can easily say, this sucks, life sucks, I hate this, I hate watching her crumble, I hate watching her take her last breath, I hated watching her go from perfectly healthy to completely and utterly sick. It's not fair. It's not right. And I had to explain it to my kids. My kids had to see her sick and suffer. We had to watch cancer just slowly take my wife from us. And I could easily kick and scream and be angry and be down and negative. And I am sometimes. I'm not saying I'm always positive. It's healthy to be angry and scream and get upset once in a while. But what I mean by positive energy is smile sometimes, make a joke sometimes, remember the things that you enjoyed with your significant other or your partner or your relative or your whoever you might have lost. Remember the good times with that person. Our brains like to go back and think of when we lost them. The struggle. For mine, it's, the hair loss, the being sick, the getting weak at the end, the losing of memory. Those want to pop in. And then I think, wait, remember before cancer? All the special times that we had together. Think about those, and that's what helps me have positive energy throughout the day. And cancer gave us a blessing in the sense that my wife prepped me for all this. Not a lot of people have that, but I was prepped. And she constantly reminded me to be positive, be who I am, no matter what the situation is. And she gave me a big challenge, but I have learned to embrace that positive energy and still be a positive light in people's life, even though I've been through the darkest of times and continue to. I have that choice to keep going, to be positive, or to just completely shut down and shut the world out. The next thing I have is talk to your person. Whoever you lost, or if you lost multiple people, talk to that person. It really, really, really helps. I have found in my spontaneous crying in the car, or there's an event going on that's emotional, or big life changes happen, and all I want to do is talk to my wife. I want to know what her opinion is. I want to know what she's feeling. And I want to have that back and forth conversation that we always had about every situation, and I don't have that anymore. But I can still talk to her. I can still listen. I can still reach out for support from her, which I did today. And the key is to talk to them like they're right in front of you. Don't be afraid to talk to them, because I believe they're listening and I believe they can help. And it does trigger something in my brain, and it helps me to get through whatever emotional thing I'm going through. Just talking to my wife like she's still there. For the last 16, 17 years of my life, she's all I've known. She's all I've known to talk to. She was my best friend, my spouse, my other parent, my other half. Every life decision, small and big, I always ask my wife, always, what do you think, honey? What do you think of this? How are you feeling? Always. Every day I asked how her day was. Every moment I just wanted to check in with her. I loved her so much. And now my brain is not understanding that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm retraining my brain to say that it does exist. I can still talk to my wife. I can still have a conversation with her. And it's not the same. But I strongly encourage you to talk to your person. Talk to that person you lost like they're right there in the room. And I promise you will see and feel a difference in yourself. We are made to be connected with one another. And when someone gets ripped away, our brain, our heart, our soul searches for that person. So show your body, show your mind, show your heart that that person's still there. That person lives within you. So talk to them. Treat them like they're in the room. And I promise it helps me immensely. I love talking to my wife. I love it. The next one I have is find a community. This is a hard one. For someone like me, who my community was my wife and my children. That's all I needed. That's all I cared about. And now a huge percentage of that was ripped away from me. So it's like, well, I'm supposed to go make friends. I'm supposed to go meet people when I'm grieving and when I'm sad. And I don't want to do that. That's the last thing I want to do. So when I say pick a community, find a community, it could be anything. It could be, for me, a Bible study group. It could be a therapy group. It could be a grief group. It could be going to the dog park with other dog owners. It could be people who like to golf. It could be people who, love going to movies, going to shows. It could be a Facebook community group. It could be an Instagram group. It could be a YouTube community. Find a community of like-minded people. And a place where you feel safe to share some of your thoughts. Now, I understand in grieving, some people don't want to share a single thing, and that's okay. You don't have to. But just listening to what others have to say, I'm on the other side. I like to share. I like to share what I'm feeling. I like to share what I've been through. I like to share how I'm doing. And that's partly because of my wife. She taught me that it's okay to share everything and that it helps others who maybe are afraid to share. So my community is my faith-based group. It's been amazing. It's not people who are all grieving. Some are. But it's just a group of people coming together and talking about their faith and talking to each other. And so I get some of that, what I'm missing from my wife, from this group. I get some of that. How was your day? How are you feeling? How was your week? What are you struggling with? What do you need help in? That I'm not getting a lot at home because it's just me and the kids. So find any kind of community. It could be online. It could be in person. Try not to just be in your own self. Try to branch out to some kind of community to support you. Whatever that looks like for you. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong community, as long as that community builds you up. So there is a wrong community. If you're around a community that brings you down, get out of it. Don't stay in something just because. Get out of the community. Maybe it's not the time. Maybe it's not the best place to be. Find a community that supports you and what you need in your grief journey and everything that you're going through. Find a group that you can connect with. Next I have find a healthy outlet. So find something, whatever that is, that makes you feel good. So an outlet is something you enjoy. It could be a hobby, it could be crafting, it could be filming, it could be walking your dog, it could be exercising, it could be eating right, it could be work. Find an outlet where you can put your energy into something. It is not going to make grief go away. It is not going to make grief disappear. It's just another avenue to put your brain on, so it's not just thinking about the person you lost. Dive into whatever that healthy outlet is. And the reason I say healthy is because there are negative outlets. There are things we can turn to that are negative. We all know what those are. And for me, sometimes food is like a negative outlet for me, right? I just want to eat. I'm emotional, or I don't want to eat. Try to find something that's healthy for you so that as much as you do it, it's benefiting your body, it's benefiting your soul, it's benefiting your body. So for me, trying to work out once in a while, getting a gym membership, using my exercise bike, walking my dogs, filming, my faith-based group, these are things that help me. And these are a positive outlet for me to put my energy and focus my energy on, as opposed to something negative that could completely ruin all the progress that I've made thus far. So find a healthy outlet and dive into it. Fully embrace it, fully put yourself into it, and see what happens. And if it's not for you and it doesn't benefit you and you don't see any improvements in your life, then don't do it. And you might not have time for it. If you're like me and you've got kids and you're a single parent and you're just trying to get by, you might not have time for all these things. And I get that. So find an outlet that you do have time for. After the kids go to bed, I will sometimes meditate. That's an outlet that I can do, and I don't have to go anywhere. Find something that you can make time for and you have time for in your schedule. Sometimes you got to push your schedule around to make time for a positive outlet. Don't be afraid to do that. Okay. One of the last ones I have is ground. If you haven't heard of grounding, it is refocusing your mind on what's here and what's now and what's in front of me and what is real. Anxiety and stress and anger is all based on something that maybe happened or something that could happen in the future. If we ground ourselves and we close our eyes and we focus on the here and the now and this moment, yes, I'm grieving, yes, I'm broken, yes, I'm torn, but if I close my eyes and I just focus on my breathing, on where I'm located, on my body, I can really focus on deep breaths and grounding myself to where I'm not letting all of the stressors and the anxiety of the world fill my head. Because when you're grieving, that's all that wants to fill your brain is stress and anxiety and sadness and anger and depression. And you have to make the conscious choice to block out some of that, not denying it, because you can't deny it, but teaching your body to ground and focus on what's right in front of me, okay? I'm stressed. I have so much going on. I'm trying to be a parent. I'm trying to keep my life together. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do all these things, film. And sometimes I just need to stop and take 5 minutes. Even if you only have 3 minutes, if you have 1 minute, stop, close your eyes, shut yourself in a room somewhere, in a bathroom, somewhere quiet. Turn out the lights, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. And during that time, your brain is going to want to fill with 1,000 thoughts. Mine does. So what I put on is like some soothing music, spa music, to distract your mind. If you don't have access to that, try not to let those thoughts in your mind. Think about nothing. Think about your breathing. Think about how your body feels. Think about your arms, your eyes, your legs. That's the art of grounding. And if you can do that once a day, carve out time, it really makes a huge difference. And I was telling people, I don't have time for that. If you can, we can all carve out 1 or 2 minutes in a day. And I'm trying to up it. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And that could be prayer. That could be meditation. That could be just time in silence. It could be doodling. Something where you are just breathing and focusing on here I am. Yes, I have all these outside stressors. Yes, my life is a mess. But here I am today. Here I am right now. My 2 feet on the ground, closing my eyes, and I'm focused on the here and now. And then the last thing I have, things that have worked for me, is to cry and find time for you. Find time for me. So crying is a big one. Cry when it is coming. If it's in the car, if it's at work, if it's in the bathroom, if it's when you're alone, if it's when you're a group of people, cry. Sometimes I literally just cry in the middle of whatever I'm doing because a wave or a memory or something, even now, it comes up and I think of my wife and it just brings me to tears. you have to let those tears out. It's your body telling you what it needs to do. Don't deny it. Don't hide it. If you're uncomfortable with crying in front of people, take a step out of whatever you're doing. Get the tears out. Let it flow. Crying is so needed when we're grieving, and it's healthy. So cry. And then find time for you, as my dogs are playing. Find time for you. This is the one that got me the most. It still does. How am I supposed to find time for me? I'm raising 2 kids. I'm now a single parent. I have a job. I film. I try to maintain my life and my balance. How do I make time for me? If I make time for me, I gotta find a babysitter. I gotta find someone to watch my kids. I gotta figure out what time, where, when, how. It's a lot. And some of us do not have the ability to do that. But we can all find a little bit of time for ourselves to do one of these things a day. Whether it's crying, whether it's trying to put out positive energy into the world, trying to find a community, trying to ground ourselves. Huckle got a toy? Good boy. Good boy. My dogs have a new toy and they're obsessed with it. It's like a little duck. So they're going to town. You might hear them. Find time for you. Carve out whatever time that is. Tell people that things are going to have to wait. Tell people that this is for your mental health, and carve out time for you. You are the most important in this grieving journey. You need to grieve the person you lost. It will never go anywhere. It will never go away. But we, as I've seen online, grief is a black circle in our soul, in our heart. And every positive thing we do creates a colorful ring around it. There's a YouTube video, I don't know who does this, but I'm not taking credit for this. There's somebody who writes a whole thing on this. And every positive thing we do for ourselves, for our soul, for our body, for our mind, creates a colorful ring around that dark ring. And pretty soon the dark ring gets smaller and the color gets brighter. So the grief is never going to disappear. That hole will never go anywhere. But we can do our best to fill the world with all these colors and our soul and our body to where we don't just feel the grief getting bigger. Our goal is to make it smaller, not eliminate it. It's never going to go anywhere, but to make it as small as possible so we can live a healthy life like our person who we lost would want us to do. The person who you lost would want you to live your life. I know from my wife's point of view, she told me all the way until her last breath to live my life, be positive, take care of the kids, and don't give up living. Because that's all she'd want to do, is to be here and live. So I hope these tips help. This is what helped me. This is what has helped me in the first 4 months of my grieving journey. And I continue these. I plan to continue them. So good luck. And always reach out on here if you need support, comments. If you can, I try to look at the comments more so on this channel than I can on the other channel. If you're going through your own experience, share about it. You can create a little community in the comments here, but try and do the best you can for you. And if the person you're grieving is my wife too, because she made such an impact on people, take some of these for yourself too. I've had people reach out and say they're not just, but they're grieving my wife too. So there are things you can do on here as well. So unfortunately, grief is something that will hit all of us at some point in our life. So these are good tips to have on how to keep going even when we feel completely lost, okay? I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but it's something to put in your head, plant the seed so that when that time comes, or if you're in it now, you pull yourself out of these dark times. All right, thanks for listening, guys. Hope it made sense. Love you all. Bye, guys.